Could you please introduce yourself and tell us about the work that you do?
Hi, I'm Ray Keefe. I run a company called Successful Endeavours, and we design high technology products that are made in Australia. So we're a research and development and engineering company, and we only ever get to do things which are hard.
So when did you first become interested in your chosen career? Was it when you were young and at school or later in life?
Yeah, it wasn't at school. I really didn't know what I wanted to do at school. Careers days were a bit like, do you want to be an accountant, a doctor, a vet, something in commerce? And I said, I quite like science. And they went, did we mention accountant, lawyer, doctor, something in commerce? So I went to uni and started a science degree. And 1 year into that, realised I had no idea why I was doing a science degree or what I was going to do with it. So I put that process on hold and took a year off, worked a couple of really mundane jobs. It's nothing like working a really boring, repetitive job to make you think that maybe an education is a really good idea. And then joined a pub band and learned to play guitar in that order. It is not the recommended sequence, let me assure you of that. But what it did do is it put me in touch with electronic equipment. So for the first time in my life, I was using electronic equipment, which I wanted to work properly, and the stuff we were using was just rubbish. And I thought to myself, surely someone can design better stuff than this. So that's the moment when I sort of got this idea as, oh, well, maybe I could do something there. So I went back to the uni, Deakin Uni in Geelong, Vaughan Ponds campus, and I said to them, if I want to learn to design electronics, what course do you study for that? They go, oh, you want to do electrical engineering? I said, really, is that a thing? They go, oh, yeah. I said, I never heard about that at high school. So they signed me up, and they were going to swing my credits from the science degree across, so I didn't have to do those subjects again. But I decided I didn't want to do that, because now that I was going to uni to learn something for a purpose, I actually wanted to do it properly. And I didn't also want to be like 2 years out of maths and then suddenly land on a whole bunch of maths, because if you don't know it yet, electrical engineering is the highest maths course load you can do at university short of a maths degree. So I started again from scratch, and I knew why I was there, and I knew why I was doing it, and I poured myself into it. I was designing equipment on the side for professional musicians and recording studios while I was studying, because I was so hungry to get to the application part of it. And that'd be my first key, is if you want to get really good at something, you got to get your hands dirty. You actually got to use it. In fact, there's a really interesting piece that was shared with me by Helen from the KC Tech School about where creativity comes from. And it's not, doesn't come just from random thoughts, and it doesn't come just from knowledge, but it's the intersection between what you know and what you do with it, and how that synthesizes itself into intuition and into, so, you know, because I was getting my hands dirty, I actually started to really get a feel and an understanding for what I was doing.
Great. So how did you learn those skills you need for your work? Was it just at uni, or, you know, you applied it as well? What are some other ways you were learning those skills?
Yeah, certainly if you don't apply it, it won't mean anything to you. It'll become knowledge. So there's a hierarchy from data, which is just, you know, red. It's a piece of data. What does it mean? Okay, data in context is called information. You know, my nose is red. You know, you've actually got some context to it. Knowledge then is understanding what that means. Now, if it was my real nose that was red, you'd say you probably should be taking antihistamines and seeing a doctor. And then there's wisdom. And wisdom is when you actually know what to do with the knowledge to make good decisions and to change. Like the whole debate we're having at the moment about, say, things like climate change and global warming and pollution and looking after the environment and what does health and well-being mean, we're struggling to get to wisdom because we're not really using the knowledge we've got practically to actually explore the area properly. In fact, there's a lot of people trying to stop people exploring the area, which reduces the likelihood of getting to wisdom and making really good decisions. So for me, that's the key, is get your hands dirty, make mistakes.
Mm.
Mistakes are really good teachers. Getting things right by accident, you'll actually have those serendipitous moments where you go, oh, that worked really well. And you go, why did that work really well? And so you actually start to unpack it to the point where it's the moving around that whole cycle from unconscious incompetence, you don't even know you suck at something, to you now know you suck at it, to, oh, okay, I'm learning. So that education piece generally happens across the top, where is I'm now learning, I'm starting to do it, and eventually you get to unconscious competence, like riding a bike. You don't even think about it anymore. That's incredibly efficient when you can get to the right answer without having to go through a whole process every time.
That's great. And so what do you enjoy most about your work?
Well, there's a couple of things. One is that we make the world a better place on a daily basis. So the projects we work on are all about making the world a better place. So if the gambling industry came to us with a fistful of dollars, we would send them away because we don't believe they're making the world a better place, unless it was a product to help people stop gambling. Likewise, there are other industries that we're not going to do work for. So we focus on stuff. So we're working in clean energy, we're working in water and waste management, we're working in digital musical instruments. People's brains develop structures in them when they learn how to play music and recite stuff, which actually gives them enormous resilience against Alzheimer's and dementia. So one of the reasons why we're seeing an increase of this stuff in our society is because not enough people are actually doing creative stuff themselves. They're consuming other people's creativity, whereas doing it yourself is actually really good for your head. So there's that side of things. I want everyone in my team to go home at the end of the day and go, yes, we did something for the world today. So businesses need to make money, but we're now at the point where making money is not enough. Making money is survival for a business. Businesses need to have a focus. They need to have a purpose. I want people to come along and say, I like what you're doing. Can I be a part of that? Rather than say, how much will you pay me? And we have the same thing with clients. If client says, how much will it cost? I'm saying you're starting with the wrong question. The question is, what are you trying to do? Maybe it will cost a lot. Maybe it won't. But if we don't understand what you're trying to do, we actually don't know how to help you. So there's that side of it. And the other side is we're focusing on creating jobs in Australia. I've got grandchildren. I want to leave them in an economy full of value so they can continue to make the world a better place.
Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for all that great information you've given us about your company and about your career. We really appreciate it. And thanks for everything Successful Endeavours does with Casey Tech School.
Yeah, it's the future.